JD here on a Friday round about lunchtime, in Queensland at least anyway, and I had to get a Facebook Live fix. Can't go through a Friday without showing off on Facebook Live, that was just wrong. Look, I've just had a meeting in Brisbane. I live on the Gold Coast, but I've had a meeting in Brisbane and with someone who's interested in joining our private coaching program, and the subject came up about collecting data. And I did my little rant that I've done before. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, you've just been scrolling through Facebook. My name is John Dwyer, and I have a business which is a marketing advisory company called the instituteofwow.com, and we help businesses get more clients. Anyway, this particular meeting was all about someone interested in joining my private coaching program. If you are, then press the button above or click the button above, bookawowcall.com, and we can have a chat to you if you've got a business where your revenue has flatlined. Anyway, back to the subject matter, which is what I've typed above, and that is collect data and when. We were just talking about the fact that hardly anyone collects data, and it's the truth, hardly anybody collects data. McDonald's reportedly will have 1.7 million people today going through their restaurants in Australia, and they don't know who one of them is. Now, we're talking about a pretty savvy marketer here. I mean, I think you'd probably agree that McDonald's have got a good reputation for being a pretty good marketer, and yet they're going to let all of those people slip through their fingers today because they don't collect any data whatsoever. And they're not the only ones. If you're not part of the VIP clubs with the supermarkets, the Woolworths and Coles of this world, then you'll find that they don't ask any details of you. And if you go into Michelle's Patisserie or Baker's Delight or Bunnings, you can go virtually anywhere in the offline world today, and you can actually spend whatever you want with them, and they won't ask for your data. And I was telling this particular guy this morning when I was having a meeting with him that in our instance, whenever we've been able to convince the business owner to collect data, they've cleaned up when they've sold the business. Well, they've cleaned up immediately in terms of running their business because they can market to that data, but they've cleaned up when they've sold the business. And I gave him one such example, which happened to be a restaurant. We convinced them to just put out a little name and address, well, name, email address, and phone number entry form to win a dinner for 6 at the end of the month to everyone who dined at that cafe. And within a few months, they had surprised themselves. They had about 10,000 database. And we broke that up into categories A, B, C, D. So if you spent, for example, $50 every time you went in there, and you went in there twice a week, and it meant you were worth $100 a week, then you'd be worth about $5,000 a year. So you were category A. Category B might be someone who's worth $3,500 a year. Category C might be someone who's worth $2,000 a year, and so forth. So we broke that up for him, and he had 10,000 customer details, particularly their phone number, of course, is the main thing you're after. I'll tell you why in a moment. And when he sold the restaurant for nearly $1 million, some 12 months later, guess what? He sold the database for about $100,000. He sold the database for $100,000. So if you think that when you sell your business, it's all based on your net profit multiplied by 2 or 3 or 5 times, think again, because your database in itself could be worth a fortune. Just ask Amazon. Okay, they've done a pretty good job with their database, or eBay, or any of those businesses that have been based on collecting data and then exploiting it. Of course, when you do collect data, you need to exploit it. And in the restaurants instances, when we've had restaurants that have collected data, they send out a text message every afternoon at about mid-afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and they fill their restaurant within 15 minutes because the restaurant goes, the text message might go out, the chef Pierre is feeling really generous and he'd like to offer you dinner for 2, lobster tail meal, dinner for 2 for $68. And of course, guess what? Generally speaking, they're booked out within 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Didn't advertise on the side of a bus, didn't sponsor the Brisbane Broncos football team or any of that sort of stuff. They just used direct marketing tactics by using text messages. Now, I'm using a restaurant as an example, but you could use any business as an example for using data, or sorry, collecting data and then exploiting it. Online, of course, collecting data is all about making sure that nobody comes into your website without you offering them something for free in return for them giving you their details. And it could be a free report, it could be a free video, it could be a chance to win a contest, to win some sort of prize in a contest. The whole idea is that if you've got people coming to your website, which is your dinner party, and you don't know who they are, well, that'd be like having a dinner party and not knowing who's at your dinner party. It's just crazy. So have a look at your website and see on your homepage whether or not you have a data capture facility, as in a free something or the chance to win something, so people will give you their details. I feel better now. I feel much better after that little rant. Every now and again I get a data collection rant need, and I've fulfilled it. So anyway, look, if you are interested to know more about how you should be collecting data and what you should do with it when you collect data, because that's a really, really, really important thing. It's great to collect data, but if you don't do anything with it, well, you know, obviously it's been a complete waste of time. Then click the button above. It's called wowmanifesto.com, and what you'll see when you go through to that page is a little 21-minute rant by me, whereby I show you how to put together a marketing plan that's based on data collection. And you might like to, there's no need for you to give us your name and address, which sounds absolutely, you know, sort of hypocritical, doesn't it, when I've been ranting about getting data. But we've found that if we invite people to click the link above, wowmanifesto.com, and watch the 21-minute video, there's a very strong chance after they watch that video that they will be more than happy to give us their data and for us to help them market their business and make more money. So there's times to collect data in a certain technique, and then there's times to use another technique. The technique I'm using at the moment is to invite you to get all this free information about how to put the marketing plan together by clicking that link above, and then when you watch that 20-minute video, there's a pretty good chance you're going to go further. And I reckon you'd be crazy if you didn't, because the offer towards the end of that video is insane. We're talking $197 a month. Well, it's a 3-month program. It's called the Wow Manifesto Client Attraction Program, and when you get to the end of that video, you'll see that I invite you to invest $197 per month for 3 months to get what I believe is a pretty valuable roadmap of how to put together a marketing plan, a client attraction marketing plan for your business. Is there a method to my madness of inviting you to watch that free video for 21 minutes? Of course there is. I am not related to Mother Teresa, despite what many people think. I'm here to make money, but I'm also here to help you, if you own a business, make more money. And if you watch that 21-minute video via wowmanifesto.com, there's a pretty good chance, even if you do nothing with me in the future, pretty good chance you might pick up some hints on how to make some more money. But it's all about collecting data and exploiting it. By the way, crazy thing, wait till you hear this. The AFL and the Rugby League codes, and probably most other sporting codes around the world, at their grand finals, they might have 80, 90, 100,000 people. Guess what? The ticketing agencies know who are there, but for the most part, the sporting bodies don't. I can't work it out. Can you imagine the amount of t-shirts, caps, coffee mugs, drink, anything? Can you imagine all of the branded sporting merchandise they could be selling the next day if they collected the contact details of the fans, the 80,000, 100,000 fans who are in that stadium? But they don't. They don't. In the most parts, they don't. There might be the odd exception, but most parts, the ticketing agencies, the online ticketing agencies do, but the sporting code doesn't. Talk about money being left on the table. I would be having text messages and emails going out like the next day. Congratulations, your team won. Do you want to get a cap? Do you want to get a t-shirt? It just drives me nuts. Anyway, before I go any nuttier, I'm out of here. Have a good weekend, and hopefully you will click the wowmanifesto.com link above and go through and watch a 20-minute video. I think it's 21.5 minutes, so it's very short, it's easy to watch, and you'll learn how to put together a marketing plan that has measurability attached to it. This finger's going to say goodbye. Have a good weekend.